When you see these giant, spinning towers on a cargo ship, you'd be forgiven for thinking they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. But what if I told you the core idea is actually 100 years old? Today, we're diving into how a piece of forgotten history is becoming a critical solution for cleaning up one of the world's biggest and dirtiest industries. But first, to really get why this old idea is making such a huge comeback, we need to understand the sheer scale of the problem the global shipping industry is up against. I mean, think about it. The phone in your pocket, the car you drive, the food you eat, pretty much everything. Nearly 90% of all the goods traded around the world get to us on a massive ship, just like this one. It's the invisible engine that powers our entire global economy. But that engine has a pretty big cost. The shipping industry is responsible for about 3% of all global CO2 emissions. Now, 3% might not sound like a lot, but on a global scale, that is a massive, massive environmental footprint. So you can bet the pressure is on. International organizations are rolling out tough new rules. They've got these fancy acronyms like EEDI and EXI, but it all boils down to one thing. Ships have to get cleaner and more efficient, and they have to do it fast. And that urgent search for a solution leads us somewhere pretty unexpected. It leads us back in time to a fascinating piece of reborn technology that might look brand new, but its roots, they go back a full century. Okay, so take a look at these. Those massive cylinders, they are not smokestacks. They're actually incredibly advanced mechanical sails. They're called Anemoi Rotor Sails, and they're designed to harness the free and limitless power of the wind. And here is the absolutely wild part of the story. This idea, the Flettner rotor, was actually invented way back in the 1920s. But then, diesel fuel got super cheap, and this incredible technology was basically forgotten, just shelved. It wasn't until 2015 that a company, Anemoi, decided to pull it off the shelf and modernize it for today's problems. All right, so you're probably wondering, how on earth does a big spinning tube actually push a giant ship through the water? Well, let's get into the incredible physics that makes it all work. It really does sound like something out of science fiction, doesn't it? A spinning cylinder creating enough force to move a vessel that weighs tens of thousands of tons? But it's not magic, not at all. It's pure aerodynamics. It all comes down to a scientific principle called the Magnus Effect. As the wind flows past the spinning rotor, the air speeds up on one side and slows down on the other. This creates a difference in pressure, and that imbalance generates a really powerful force, a thrust that pushes the ship forward. You know, it's the same basic principle that creates lift on an airplane's wing. But here is the kicker. Per square meter, a rotor sail can generate up to 10 times more thrust than a traditional fabric sail. That is an incredible amount of power. So, okay, the physics is brilliant, but that's not enough, right? This technology has to actually work in the real, messy world of busy ports and day-to-day logistics. So let's see how they've engineered these things for the modern shipping industry. I mean, you can't just stick giant pillars on a ship's deck and call it a day. What happens when a crane needs to load cargo, or when the ship has to pass under a low bridge? Those sails have got to be able to get out of the way. And this is where Anemoi's really clever, patented engineering comes in. They have two main systems. There's a folding system that allows the sails to literally lower down horizontally to clear any overhead obstacles. And then there's a rail system, which lets the sails just slide along the deck, completely clearing the area for cranes to do their work. And the best part? This isn't some clunky manual process. The whole thing is fully automated. The crew can reposition the sails in about 10 minutes, basically with the push of a button from the bridge. It's all designed for maximum efficiency with minimum fuss. Okay, so the science is solid. The engineering is smart. But what about the results? Let's talk numbers. What's the actual, real-world impact on fuel consumption and, most importantly, emissions? Here it is. This is the number that is making the entire industry sit up and pay very close attention. A single ship equipped with these rotor sails can cut its fuel use and its emissions by 5 to 30%. That is a game-changing figure. Let's break that down with a real-world example. So for this massive Kamsarmax bulk carrier, we're talking about annual savings of almost 1,400 tons of fuel. That means over 4,300 tons of CO2 are not being pumped into the atmosphere. And look at that EDI score. Getting that number down is absolutely vital for meeting those new efficiency rules. Now, that was just for one ship. Let's zoom out for a second and think big picture. If this technology were installed on every suitable ship across the entire planet, we'd be looking at potential annual savings of 56 million tons of carbon and 17 million tons of fuel. The potential global impact here is just immense. And this isn't just a hypothetical. Major industry players are already on board. Listen to this quote from Paulo Tonon, the technical director at Burge Bulk. He says, "We firmly believe wind propulsion can help achieve our decarbonization commitments and are therefore pleased to be rolling out Anemoi Rotor Sail technology on our vessels. That is a massive vote of confidence." And this isn't some computer rendering. This is the TR Lady, a real bulk carrier that is out sailing the oceans right now. And verified data shows it's already achieving over 10% in annual savings. This tech is proven, it's working, and it is delivering results today. So, what does this all mean for the future of shipping? Well, it seems like one of the most promising paths forward actually involves taking a really smart look back. Let's just recap the key points here. We're talking a huge reduction in fuel and emissions, 5 to 30% per ship. The system is fully automated and super easy to operate. The patented designs mean it never disrupts port operations. It's suitable for most big commercial ships, and maybe the most important takeaway of all, this isn't a future concept. It's a proven technology with a 25-year lifespan, and it's available right now. You know, the story of the rotor sail is just a powerful reminder that sometimes the most innovative solutions aren't about inventing something totally new. Sometimes it's about rediscovering a brilliant idea from the past that was just waiting for its moment. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other forgotten technologies are out there just waiting for us to bring them back to power our future?